Today I'm telling you the story about a fake guru that thought he had it all figured out. So stay right there to learn what true wisdom is and to see our characters have a flipping good time. Hello little humans and welcome to the podcast. I am so stoked that you're here. This is the first episode of the Philosophy and Virtues for Crawling Children podcast. We'll be talking about dragons and wagons, and we'll be talking science and whatever rhymes with science. That sounds silly, and that is why I'm so excited that you are here. For today, we are going to be talking about what true wisdom really is. Socrates had true wisdom. Do you? Well, we will find out real quick after I tell you this story, and then you can compare yourself to each of our two gurus in the story. Now, I hope that you're excited, but first things first, we have to get something that I know is super important, and that is our morning affirmation. In this one sentence, it can change your mindset for the day. It could change your mindset for forever, and that is my hope. But we'll have to start it one day at a time. So let us get to it. Today our affirmation goes as so. I will dig deep and I will explore what I really want in life. I really like this affirmation because this is the first step to really making your life better. This is the first step to finding out what is going to fulfill you or truly make you happy. Now this is very, very hard, believe me. And through this study, we will work on it every single day. But let us say it together. So repeat after me. I will dig deep. And I will explore what I really want in life. Great. Let me hear it one more time. And little humans, I really want you to feel it. I want you to feel it in your bones, and I really want you to believe, and I really want you to strive for this. So as we go through every single day, learning more and more, and really learning what we are and what we mean and what we can do to really make the world a better place. Alright, so repeat after me. I will dig deep. And I would explore what I really want in life. You can easily take this with you by going to nkenlighten.com and getting the mini book. Alright, so now that we are starting to look into this, let's look into Socrates. Socrates is a great Greek philosopher that had all kinds of great things, and that is what our story is thrived on and based on. So let us go see our characters get flipped into shape and see what true wisdom really means. Since today is the first time, I want to show you my diorama that I use to illustrate this show. If you are watching it on YouTube, you can just see it. But if you are listening, then I want to explain it in great detail so that you can imagine it the way that you want. The diorama has a back and a bottom, and the two sides are in the shape of triangles, going from little end in the front to tall end in the back. Now, I have some figures set up for this story that I am going to tell you today. They are both the same little wooden soldier with just little bit different clothes painted on. One in red clothes and one in blue clothes. Alright, so the story today is about a guru and a fake guru. Now, just like the two soldiers that you are looking at, you could not tell the two gurus apart. Besides by their clothes and their hair and, alright, just by their appearance. But if you were looking into them, their souls, you could not tell them apart. And they lived right across the path from each other, both in very normal sized houses, one red and one blue. They loved to help people whenever they could, and they did it with a smile. With the immense knowledge that they have, they help all the kinds of people with all the kinds of problems. Now, one night, the gurus got together, like they always did, and they talked. One guru said,
"Have you heard of shepherd's pie?"
and the other guru said,
"Oh yes, I have heard of shepherd's pie. Good thing that we are bakers, huh?" "Why?" "Because then we'd have to fear about being put into a pie." "Ha ha. Oh yes, but we certainly have to be worried about being put into a baker's dozen."
All very men. But as you can see, the talks didn't always end with the right answers, but they would always seek the real answers. They would read and ask questions and trial and error, and they would always come back to the subject, and they would find out and they would discuss the right answers eventually. Because of these two gurus were very, very knowledgeable, and they worked very well together. Now, guru number 2, we would call him Jacob. Jacob said,
"You know, we really are wise, and I think that we should charge. That way we can do this full time and not have to go to work. That way we'd have more time to help more citizens, and then we can make the world such a better place."
Guru number 1, we will call him Albert, looked at him and he said,
"I don't think that would be right, because I don't know anything."
Jacob looked at him and he said,
"What do you mean that you don't know anything? We just had our 1,003-hour conversation about everything, and you read like 1,000 pages a day, so I know that you are wise."
Now, Robert did not want to offend Jacob, and this was always something that they always had in common, was that every time they said something to each other, then it was good advice. They wouldn't know that it was good advice, but Albert was scared. But rather than not say it, he did the right thing, and he told his good friend exactly what was on his mind. And so Albert said,
"Unfortunately, that is what makes you foolish, and not wise at all."
Jacob was taken back, and he did not know what to say. He was astounded. And was just mind blown that his good friend would say this to him. And so he said,
"You are the one who just admitted you know nothing."
Albert very candidly looked at Jacob, and he said,
"Yes, and that is what makes me wise."
Jacob's mind was filled with anger, with resentment, with just rage, and he did not know how to deal with it because he has never felt this emotion before, especially towards his greatest and best friend that he talked to every single day. He jumped in the air and he flipped in the air, and it seemed like it was unbearable to hear his friends say these things to him. And he exploded out of anger, and he said,
"Well, I will show you wise, because I will charge people, and they will still come, and they will think that I am wiser than you could ever be, because they will pay a premium for quality."
Jacob stormed out of the house and back to his own house. He was filled with anger and rage and resentment. He went all the way home without a goodbye, without saying another word. The next day, Jacob put up a sign in his front yard that said, "Advice on anything, I know everything, $100. He figured what he didn't know, which wasn't much of course, or so he thought, he would just lie about. Now, I don't think that this is great, but this is what he did. Now, Albert put up a sign that said, "Advice on anything, I know. I know nothing, $0. Jacob looked at the sign, and he read,
"Silly man, disrespectful man. I tried to help him, and he says so many mean things about me. Oh my goodness gracious, he will never be successful like me. He will see, he will see."
Jacob, he only had 11 people, but enough to pay the bills, and he was happy. His customers, maybe not so much. Jacob seen Albert coming home, and he yelled across the street,
"Hey, silly man, how was your day working?"
Albert, being the bigger man in this situation, ignored the startling remarks, and he replied,
"Grateful. I learned more today than I did yesterday. The town dairy farmer actually taught me that a cow can see 330 degrees, that is almost all the year round, and don't need much sleep. Oh, if we had the eyes of a cow and the sleep habits, oh, the things we'd accomplish." "Yeah, but you'd still be turning the patties. How much money did you make with your sign? Because I made $700 today." "None, I guess. But I'm so glad that you were able to help the people that needed help while I was away at work today." And I made money doing it. Aren't you ready to charge? Aren't you? Aren't you ready to charge? No, I will wait till the end of the day and see what happens.
As soon as the sun went down, Jacob poked his head out of his window and he yelled across the street.
Hey, Albert, how much money did you make over there? No money, but 3 happy customers for the day. I think I can call that a successful day. Can't you, Jacob? Them are not customers, because they did not pay, you silly man. I thought you were wise and knowledgeable. They did not pay. I made $700, and I don't have to work for the rest of the month. Now I will just kick back and relax.
Albert continued to help every single day, and every single way that he could. Every day, Jacob would poke his head out, and he would laugh at Albert, and ask how much money his side made him. And Albert would laugh and say,
Not a whole lot, I guess.
The line for Albert grew and grew and grew and grew. Albert would help from the time he got off till bedtime. He devoted all of his free time to helping others and asked for no money.
You are ignorant to the fact you are wasting your time. You should be charging these people for your valuable time that we have used to gain this knowledge. The world owes it to us.
At the beginning of next month, people lined up to see Jacob, the guru that according to the sign knew everything. The first man walked in and he asked, "Why is the earth round?" And when Jacob couldn't answer the guy, he left assumingly mad. The next woman came in and she asked, "Why is God depicted as a man?" Jacob couldn't answer, and she also left what was seemingly looked angry. They told people outside as they walked past, so it looked like to be, they said, not to waste their time there. He might be the smartest person, but he didn't have the answer to any of our questions. Jacob was fed up and he went to Albert and he said,
Please tell me, why do you know everything but claim to know nothing? Buddy, I would love to help you, but you see all of these people. I have to ask you to wait, just like all of them have. I am so sorry.
Jacob waited for hours and hours and hours, and finally he got to the front of the line, and he was dying for answers.
Oh, hello, Jacob. Just please answer my question. Why do you assume I know everything? Because you still have a line. Look across the road. You see my house? No customers. They all got fed up because I could not answer their questions, and they just left. Have you thought it's because it's free?
Jacob looked at the man behind him and he asked him,
Would you pay for him to teach you something?
The man looked at Jacob and he said, I have actually emptied all of my savings. Jacob looked back at Albert.
Have you thought it's because they expect nothing when they come in? So when they get even a little more than nothing, then at least they can keep their money and move on?
Jacob looked at the man that was just leaving and he said to the man,
Sir, did you pay him?
The man looked at Jacob and he responded, Yes, I actually did.
Did he answer your question?
The man, looking very agitated, looked at Jacob and he said, Well, actually, kind of, sort of, yes, he did. Now please leave me alone.
See, you do know everything. But you did not ask him what the question was. Maybe it was something you have taught me. What? It could be the question could have been anything. That may be possible, but there are so many people, there's no way that we have possibly discussed everybody here questions that they have for you, and they just keep coming. They didn't go and tell the whole line like mine did that not to come and ask you questions anymore. So please quit just beating around the bush, Albert, and tell me the secret. Jacob, I know nothing, and neither do you. But being able to admit it, that I know nothing, makes me more knowledgeable than most, but more wise than any man who claims they know everything. But that does not tell me how you answered all these people's questions. I mean, your customers didn't complain. My dear friend, some questions I answered. Others I told how to get their questions answered. Those 7 people who showed up, they weren't angry. They didn't complain. They had their questions answered. But I didn't say anything to them. I didn't know the questions' answers. You're not looking at it correctly. The people I sent there had questions that nobody truly knows the answers. So I sent them to you because I know that you could not answer them at all. But if they truly believe and went and spent $100 for the man who knows everything to answer their question, and the smartest man that is worth $100 per question could not answer them, then nobody in this world could possibly answer them.
Without another word, Jacob walked out of the door, up his price to $200, and they lived happily ever after, having their normal conversations like they always did. You see, kids, according to Socrates, Albert was truly the wiser because he knew that he didn't know everything, and he was willing to learn from anybody and everybody. No, he didn't know everything, and he was able to access how he could help people, and his plan worked by having so many other people who he knew that could be able to maybe answer questions to some of the people that showed up. See, there is no way we could ever learn even a fraction of what there is to know on this earth. But as together as a community, we can know so much more. Use what you do know and lots of questions to find out as much as you can, and never stop learning. Learning from everybody. That is what is going to make you truly wise, and it all starts with being able to admit you know nothing. Alright, I really hope that you liked that story, and before I let you go, we have to go over our daily dose of improvement, so that if you get nothing out of the day, at least you can look at your mini book that you can get from nklenlighten.com, and you can say, oh, the best, I learned all of this. So let us get started. So first things first, we have our joke of the day, and it goes like this. What did one plate say to the other? Dinner is on me. It is so funny to me. I hope you liked it. But seriously, little human, we have to be more serious. No, that we don't. Who am I kidding? But we must move on to the next thing, and that is the quote of the day. And since our story was inspired by Socrates, which is a great Greek philosopher, and he has a quote that goes just like this. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Now, can you see where that story came from? See, we just went over this, so I will not explain it right now, but it truly means that you just have to admit that you do not know everything. And by not knowing everything, then you actually know more. Kind of confusing, huh? But anyway, go ahead and send us an email and I can answer you so many questions. Go to Instagram and send us a message on there, or send us it at, feel free to send me questions and you may get it answered right here on the show, or one of my many other shows I have coming to YouTube. You can send us questions on Instagram or send us an email at Dr. Jurafikur here. The email address you can find at the screen or below the video at any time. Alright, so next is the fact of the day. And since we are talking about Socrates, and I really like Socrates, it goes like this. So the fact of the day is about Socrates. And Socrates was so humble that what he teaches, he never wrote a book. Everything that we know from him was actually written by one of his students, which we will go over their works from time to time. Alright, so next is our goal and our challenge of the day. So for our goal today, I want you to take about 30 minutes to yourself and just think like Socrates, or one of the great thinkers underneath him, or any of the great thinkers of the whole entire world probably would. Shut everything down, and if you're not deflated in the dark, even get rid of the distraction of light, and just think to yourself some things that just you and only you know about yourself. And I challenge you to go ahead and dig deeper than you ever had before, and see if you can find something that you didn't truly know about yourself, something that is not influenced by anything like social media or your friends or your mom or your dad or your siblings, and then go ahead and either send us an email, post it on our Instagram, or any of the following. But that is all I have for you today. So I want to thank you for listening. You can catch it animated on YouTube or listen to the podcast anywhere that you get your podcast. Please have a great day, and don't forget to be a beacon of light for everybody. And be sure to have a great day and keep learning, don't matter what. So thank you.